What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So with Lucid just hitting a 52-week and all-time low on Friday, a lot of people are going to be looking at Lucid having some sort of recovery this week. As far as data points that could really push Lucid and just the broader market higher, we don't really have that much on Monday. Throughout the whole week, we have a lot of Fed speakers, no different than last week, so I don't know what's up with kind of the surge of Fed speakers. But Tuesday, we have ADP employment weekly. Came in at negative 11,000 last week. That's kind of spooked the broader market because I think one looming fear as well over the broader market for the last month has been consumers. So that one is going to be a little bit more of a touchy one, so just kind of watch for that. Wednesday though, so last FOMC minutes that did come out, we actually did get a lot more optimistic because those minutes did really signal that numerous members were in favor of multiple cuts throughout the rest of 2025. Powell, on the other hand, clearly was still very concerned over labor and just needs more data. But with this FOMC minutes coming out on Wednesday, you could see a nice hype up in the broader market. Again, if the similar type of mentality is there about multiple rate cuts. Thursday, we have some employment, some Philly Fed data, so that could as well kind of move the market. And then on Friday, we have Michigan consumer sentiment alongside a lot of Fed speakers. So it is going to be a fun week. Aside from that, though, we also have a lot of big companies unveiling the earnings. And I think it is, in all fairness, going to come down to Wednesday and Thursday. So Nvidia, I don't think that needs any explanation on how impactful that is to the broader market, to tech and AI. And then Walmart, I know that one might be a surprising one to bring up as a big kind of point to watch for, but in the past, Walmart has really signaled some fear and cracking within consumers. And as I already mentioned in this video, consumers is a touchy subject. So potentially, Walmart could really impact the broader market depending on how their kind of bottom and top line goes and what they give for future guidance. So just watch for Wednesday and Thursday. Aside from that, though, this is what is planned for Lucid. So no interviews or anything, but it does look like this week they will be in Vegas and Tampa for the pop-up. And it looks like next weekend we'll be at the LA Auto Show, or the following week. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. A couple of things I do want to bring up that has popped up over the last weekend, or over this last couple of trading days, has been this. So Nick posted this on the 14th, just saying that visited obviously AMP1, and this is kind of the picture of the inside of it, which we haven't really seen too much of. I think Peter did some videos of I think the September 2024 Tech Day, which would be kind of advantageous for Lucid to kind of continue that. But aside from that, though, it was his comment about AMP2. So I'm looking forward to visiting AMP2 soon. All building structures are up. The majority of the floors are poured in and initial equipment is being installed, which will continue next year. So that's kind of a positive thing, because generally AMP2 is going to be the very big deal for Lucid, because at full capacity, they can do 150,000. And I think that'll be, I think it was originally estimated mid 2026, but even if it's sometime late 2026 or early 2027, that should be a pretty good catalyst for Lucid, because AMP2 is going to be pretty much fulfilling a lot of orders to Europe, around most of the world. And as I've even done videos on in the past, from a cost perspective, it can actually ship to Canada and as well other areas around the States for cheaper than what it costs AMP1. So I think AMP2 is going to be a very big catalyst for Lucid. So this is a good update. And then I do see a lot of individuals bringing up about this. So 13Fs, it's that time of season. So we've been getting a lot of big ones. One thing I do want to bring up, actually, before I bring up Uber, is Morgan Stanley. So it does show Morgan Stanley increased their position 248,000. So I think just Fintel is really screwing things up. It shows all these as brand new positions, but it is because Lucid did a reverse stock split. So they got a new CUSIP number. So that's messing everything up. So I don't believe that the Morgan Stanley increasing 248,000 is accurate, but it does signal, if roughly, that they did increase their position probably by 50,000 or whatever, but close to that. Moral of the story is Morgan Stanley continues to give somewhat lackluster kind of ratings from an analyst standpoint, but yet they behind the scenes are buying. So it's very comical how things are always like that. So I just wanted to bring up good old Morgan Stanley. But again, over the weekend, a lot of people are bringing up Uber. And so they do and did disclose on the 14th that they have 13.7 million shares. So this is one thing that we didn't necessarily know, because we knew part of the whole deal was that Uber was going to give 300 million as a upfront investment, and then they were going to purchase over a span of, I think it was 5 years, 20,000 plus vehicles. So generally, I was under the assumption that the 300 million was going to be cash. So turns out that they did actually buy stock of it. And if you do the basic math, they pretty much got in at a price of 21.18. So kind of crazy stuff how right now we're at the $14 range when Uber, like that deal that just was announced a couple of months ago, they bought in at 21. So kind of puts it in perspective on how discounted Lucid truly is. And then over the last 1 month alone, just down 32%. So crazy stuff. So just wanted to bring that up. When it comes down to Uber, this is their holdings. So they have Serve, Grab, as well as a lot of kind of speculative names. So interesting to see that they did do that. Aside from that, going into this upcoming week, 28.63% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 41.2 million shares overall being shorted. So shorts did return just shy of 1 million shares, so 999,000. So I do anticipate shorts to most likely continue to return into this upcoming week. Again, I think just that there's a lot of good opportunity for the broader market to kind of recover. And with Lucid hitting kind of the lows it did, people are going to be looking at value. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $15 to $16 range by the end of this upcoming Friday. And then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub, oddly enough, consensus-wise, I'd say 15, but then you have these random pockets for it to be sub 11. And in my opinion, I don't think that there's any real true data point coming out that is going to justify that, unless maybe some war is announced or something. But you kind of have that one right there, which is rather odd. Aside from all of that, though, with it at 14.20, it is smack dab in the middle between this S2 and this S3. So 15.32 and 17.16 is going to be the next round target / resistance. 12.34 is going to be the next strong target or support level. From an L8 wave technical standpoint, it is projected for Lucid to hit between that 12.97 and 13.74 in the short term. So based on this, there is a little bit more downside anticipated. Quickly popping over here though, on the actual chart, there's not really much positives to bring up aside from the fact that it's arguably oversold, because on the actual chart it's below all the key pivotal moving averages that generally I like to look at. Even on the market position, you don't really see any willing buyers. But then again, we've seen this same type of sell-off occur back in September, and it had a very epic recovery. A lot of that had to do with algorithmic trading. So I think just maybe the AI signals that it is just a good buy, and then that is what really did recover it. So you never know, we could potentially get to that same type of price action, largely linked to just AI seeing Lucid as a good buy. But I think in general, Lucid would be wise to put out some pretty good news. And this is one big thing that I've kind of complained about in the past, is that what Nick mentioned right over here, they could easily put that out in the form of a official PR. And the thing is, there's a lot of stocks that do PR blitzes. And what I mean by that is they put out daily news. And so it kind of loses the whole luxury of news. It just becomes just blah. It's like nothing crazy. But then again, you actually have then on the polar opposite end, companies that don't put out anything and they just rely on social media. I feel that Lucid should really give a just general shareholder update on how AMP1 and AMP2 is going. And because when it comes down to it, algorithmic trading really does move stocks and buys stocks or potentially sells off based on official news. Not necessarily tweets or posts on Twitter, or X, whatever the hell it's called, but nonetheless, so that's something that I feel that Lucid really does need to improve on in the short term, is just put out official news. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Where do you realistically see things going? Do you see more 52-week and all-time lows being hit, or do you see a nice recovery? And potentially, if you do see a recovery, where do you see it? Do you think it's going to be above 17, above 15, or just still stay in this range? In my opinion, I do feel that we'll probably still be between this S2 and this S3, possibly right above this S2, but nothing, I don't see a recovery to 17, 18, or 20. You see a lot of individuals calling that out for this week on social media, having once again those God candles. I don't really see that being on the table. So let me know your general thoughts on Lucid. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put up daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.